Right, Ron, I expect you've heard this old joke that we on racecourses a lot. How did you end up with £1 million as an on-course bookmaker? You start with 2. You start with 2 million if you want to end up with £1 million as a racecourse bookmaker. That's the old joke I've been told a few times.
Yeah, you're dead right. Well, buy pick 60 at Aydock Park and buy pick 50 at Pontefract. That's how you end up going from 2 million to 1.
So why did you decide to become a racecourse bookie? Because that's a totally different beast.
Yeah, absolutely. That could be my car. Colin's got the key, it is, mate, it's stopped. Right, yeah, how did I become... I retired when I was 53, when I sold my last shop to Ladbrokes for 1.2 million. I know it says 750 in the book, but I retained the property and they gave me a lease for 15 years for 20 grand a year rent, something like that. And then eventually Ladbrokes surrendered the lease because Dave Pluck, funny enough, opened about 50 yards away on the same precinct, by which time the sort of quarter-mile radius thing had gone out the window. And you had high streets up and down the country with a William Hill shop, a Coral shop, a Ladbrokes shop, all in 25 yards. All because of the slot machines. I was out the game by then, so it didn't matter. But I retired at 53, going to take life easy, started playing tennis. Colin was too young to retire, obviously. I looked after him for the proceeds of the last shop, made him a rich man. And anyway, I said, what are you going to do? No, he said, I'm not sure. He said, I've got a few thoughts. I said, the only reason I'm not giving you this last shop, I don't want you to have the life I've had. I have been a workaholic. I've made lots of sacrifices. After my first marriage, I actually lived with a woman, my bank manager's secretary she was, turned out to be a right dragon. I had 2 lovely daughters with her, one of which we've not got on, she let me down. The other one is, she's a cream of the crop. You shouldn't have favourites. I've got 2 lovely boys and I've got a daughter that's I'd die for. And she's just done me proud. She's 39 now. Her mother never kept her out of school. Her mother, she was a golfer for her mother, because her mother had another son by some other guy when I'd split up with her. And anyway, so when we're coming from...
Why did you decide to go on course?
Oh, yeah. So I sold the shop to Ladbrokes. That made me another $1 million plus, and retired. See, I sold it in the March because I was going to go to Cheltenham. I said, I want this deal done before Cheltenham. I said, because I bought a pitch at Cheltenham. Pick 40 or something in tats, not worth a balloon. But I didn't know anything about racecourse bookmaking.
So how quickly did you have to learn that?
I'm a quick learner, very quick.
Cost you otherwise, doesn't it?
Listen, mate, again, I told you I'm a big head. On that computer making a book in 2022, I back myself against anybody. I'm odds on. I'm bits on. I don't care if it's Star Sports, I don't care if it's John Hooper, I'll beat any of them.
There you go, bookies, even Tim Brown.
Now that could be a photo finish.
So how did the other bookmakers on course accept you? Did they say...
No, I found it very hard work, being a northerner and buying pictures. I bought pictures initially primarily down south because that's where the money is. All the rich people live in Surrey. So I bought Sandown Park, I bought Ascot. I like the nights out, the overnight stays. I like the big feast after racing, quality food. Have a few beers, not many. I'm not a heavy drinker by any means, like a glass or 2 of wine with a meal. Don't get me wrong, I've been pissed.
I was going to say, in your book, you're a bit of a work hard, play hard type of guy.
I was younger then, believe it or not.
So, and also you were one of the first UK bookies to bet in Ireland, but not under your own name, I understand.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I was going out with a girl. I've had a few girlfriends now, come to think of it. An Irish girl that I met in a pub after Punchestown one day. And I bought a pitch with Kenny Walsh, guy from Hull, Rossi Brothers. Been a mate of mine for years. We were doing business over the phone when we both had shops. He was trading at Artwell's. I think there were 3 of them involved in that. I never had, apart from Ken Donegan for 7 years initially, I didn't want partners. Partnerships don't work. Because obviously some partners have got bigger ambitions than others. And my ambitions were endless. So I said to Ken, I'm going to buy a pitch I'm going racecourse, Punchestown. I said, I'm going out with a woman from Nace, just round the corner. I said, do you fancy coming in? Well, he said, I've got good pictures, and he had good pictures in the UK, very good pictures. He sold most of them. I don't see much of him these days. Anyway, so we bought this pitch in Punchestown between us, and he said, his name's Ken Walsh, and he said, can I make a suggestion? He said, we can't call it Ron WADEY. He said, they won't know who Ron WADEY is. But Walsh, Ruby Walsh, blah, let's trade as Walsh Racing. Not a problem to me. You can trade as who you want. You can trade as Simon Knott if you want.
That wouldn't get him in.
Hey!
That wouldn't get him in.
Well, you're not a bad looker.
Huh.
You're getting old now.
Come on, Ron, let's get on with part 4.
Sorry, mate. What were we up to?
We're talking about your betting in Ireland.
Oh, yeah. Well, Ken came in. We bought a Galway pitch as well, the same year. We traded it for a year. It was a different ball game altogether. A lot of the Irish bookmakers then, and a lot of them still are now, they're dual purpose. They're not bookmakers. They're bookmakers stroke punters. I've never been a punter, so to speak of. You can't do both. Anyway, Ken, after a year, said, this isn't for me. We had one season, Galway and Punchestown. This isn't for me. How do you think we should work it out? Well, I said, I'll buy you out. I'll pay you whatever you put into it, I'm going to give it you, and then the pitches are mine. And that's what happened. We never fell out.
Do you still bet over there now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't miss it. It's like a holiday camp. It's like Butlins.
So you mentioned Colin a lot. I mean, everybody on the racecourse will know Colin.
Yeah.
Are you happy that you introduced him into bookmaking in hindsight? Are you glad that that's the career
I didn't
he's
introduce
gone
him into it. He introduced himself.
Right, yeah.
He went stacking shelves in Tesco till he was 18. Right? And the day he was 18, he had a job with me. And before that, when he was 15, he come and worked in the betting shop behind the scenes with a pile of bets like that, about 50 bets, all sort of doubles, nothing like a £50 Canadian, which we did take one of one day. That's another story. And excuse me. And yeah, he took to it like a fish to water.
Right, now you're a man that likes to speak his mind.
Slightly.
What's the problem, biggest problem with bookmaking at the moment, on-course bookmaking?
There's no unity. There's too many associations. There should be one association like there is in Ireland. What Ray Mulvaney, who's chairman of IMBA, Irish National Bookmakers Association, in Ireland, has been for 3 years. What he has achieved in this pandemic, we used to have to pay payment in absence. In other words, if you didn't go, you paid the pitch fee. For me, in Punchestown, about 20 odd race meetings in Punchestown every year. I only went 5 days to the festival, and then the other 20 days was costing me about 150 quid a day. It cost me £3 a year, and I was in England, not in Ireland. So that was one reason I got out of Punchestown. But the main reason was the pitch I had, which was a cracking pitch, but I paid good money for it. I got naff all for it because outside this pitch, underneath the stand, was a Paddy Power betting shop. And they used to flock out of there after they'd watched an away race, come and pump with me. Because the guy next to me, I picked number 2, the guy next to me in pick 1 was an absolute novice. I mean, I'd got 2 pitches. I had his and all. He didn't know how to take a bet, he didn't know how to use a computer. Anyway, I got there one year. Crikey, I couldn't believe it. No betting shot, moved 50 yards towards the rails. Oh my God, I put my head in my hands. My pitch was then probably worth 100 grand. I paid about 70 for it. It was now worth 20 grand, and that's what I got for it.
Right.
My mother's luck, and my mother's not so good luck.
So the last couple of bits here. So you've been in both sides of the game, betting shops in their heyday and bookmaking still now. Which do you prefer? Now you've experienced both of them.
Now, at 75, you couldn't give me a betting shop. Could not give me a betting shop. The overheads, they've got 2 suppliers, is it, what they called? 2 commentary teams.
SIS and,
SAS and somebody else.
And RUK.
Yeah. Why do they need 2? Double the overheads. Betting shops, there's a betting shop in my local village. Fred's got it. Had it for years. Before Fred had it, it was an independent, can't remember his name. That shop in the 80s was doing 30 grand a week cash, which was an unbelievable turnover. Fred bought it off this independent, can't remember his name. Anyway, I go in that shop now, not to have a bet, I go in that shop to read the Racing Post because I can't afford to buy one. And I don't go in every day, but when I go in, sometimes I go in racing, sometimes I go in the morning. There's nobody in the place. There might be a couple of blokes playing the machines. There's no business going across the counter. They're an absolute loser today. If it wasn't for the machines, I don't know how many shops there are in the UK now. There used to be 9,000 at one time. I'd say there's about 6 or 7, I don't know. If they didn't have those machines, they're apparently still good, and even they've reduced it to £2 a spin. If there was 6,000 betting shops still around about 5 years ago, without those machines, there'd be about 3,000 from 9,000. That's how good betting shops are today.
Okay, so what about racecourse bookmaking?
Got to have good pitches. Got to have top pitches, and that's all I want, and that's all I've got. Just bought Ascot Rails 3 this week off Wharton Slaney. Because, to be honest, I bought it for, he wanted 80 grand for it. I've not paid him anything like that. I've stole it off him, and you can tell him. I'll tell him.
He'll watch this, won't he? Hopefully.
He still owes me a meal. Right. You can slice that, can't you?
Okay, so so there's definitely future racecourse bookmaking.
Well, about just before the pandemic, I spent 200 grand on pitches, £200,000 on a top class Aintree pitch of my good old, my best mate, or second best mate he might be, or even 50th best mate, Brian Hazel. And funny enough, we did it, signed it all up and gave him a cheque. He was sat in the front of my car, and in the back of the car was Colin and Desi. My dog I've got, my bull mastiff, who now weighs 10 stone, and I've never seen Brian Hazel's face change so much when he saw the dog. He was absolutely crapping himself. He was talking to me and watching the dog.
So that's what sprung the deal, was it?
Well, I think Desi had a bit of a say in it. So I spent a lot of money on that pitch. That was about, I can't remember, about 100 and something thousand, well over 100,000. And I bought another pitch at the same. I bought another Epsom pitch, number 7 in Tats off Pat Walsh. Another lovely man. So even though he's from the south, he's a nice man.
Okay, so you're bookmaking for super future, you'll be on course bookmaking. With loads more stories that we haven't got time to talk about, but your book, My Mother's Luck, can we still get it anywhere?
Can you still buy it?
Yeah.
I've got 6 copies. I'm going to have a reprint.
There you go, or an auction first of all for them.
Pardon?
Or an auction first of all. Get as much as you can for those 6.
No, I'm not greedy. Never was. Never was.
But
never
in seriousness, it goes to charity, some of it as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, 20% to Mary. That book, published, written by the help of a ghostwriter, because I was bored in the pandemic, had no work. I was sitting at home twiddling my thumbs. Could only walk the dog so far in a day. I thought, bollocks, I'm going to write a book. So I got in touch with Christopher, whatever his name is, can't forget. And I said, I want to write a book. Do you know anything about bookmaking? He said, no, but I'm willing to learn. I said, come on. It's cost me 10 grand to publish that book. And 20% to Marie Curie. That's 2 grand for them. They've had about 4 grand as far as I'm aware. Right, I've had nothing. I've not made a
When
penny
you
on
publish
that
it again,
I'm a
then you-
loser. I'm a loser on that.
Not at all. So on that note, Ron, Wadey, and also if you do publish it again, we'll let everybody know on Twitter.
Well, I'll
and
do a
social media
reprint.
stuff.
I won't
Yeah,
publish
well, I
it again.
said do a reprint.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll look out for that. My Mother's Luck. If you can get a copy of it, it's
You've got
very,
a copy.
very, very interesting. I know I have. Anybody
Well,
watching
look,
this?
You should
Anybody
have paid,
watching this?
you
if
paid
I'm-
me a tenner for that, didn't you?
I did.
Get it sold for 20.
If anybody's watching this and you can find a copy of Ron's
If,
book, buy it.
if anybody's not watching it, they're out of their mind.
Exactly. So on that note, Ron Wadey, thank you very much.
Top man. Enjoyed it, believe it or not.
Me too.
Even though you are from south of Watford.
Oh, I'm still recording, you know that, don't you?
I don't give a toss.